CBS News Justice reporter Paula Reid joins us now from Washington with the details of this. Paula, thank you for joining us. What do these new immigration orders do?
There's no new law here. Immigration enforcement is whatever you prioritize. And here, the president and the head of the Department of Homeland Security, they're making it clear that they are going to put aggressive enforcement and they're going to direct it towards those who have entered the country illegally or entered the country legally and overstayed. They say they're really going to put an emphasis on quick deportations and also detentions at the border. Now, you can't do this. You can't change the system without an influx of resources. So these memos, all of these new policies, these also provide for new hires, thousands of them, to help implement this new deportation proceeding.
Paula, what happens to the undocumented immigrants picked up in one of these raids? Will they get detained or deported immediately?
Well, they do hope to be able to detain them in these raids. It used to be if you were stopped at the border, they would try to just schedule a hearing for you, give you some sort of notice, and release you. But now what they're going to do is try to process you and deport you immediately. But if you are able to make it into this country, if you are picked up in one of these raids, their hope is to also detain you and deport you immediately. But the head of the Department of Homeland Security has said, look, our detention facilities are already overflowing. So they're going to try to build some additional facilities, but until they can, they're going to have to triage. They're going to have to look at who poses the greatest threat and detain and deport those people first.
Well, one of the biggest questions we've seen with this is what happens to those unaccompanied minors who are stopped at the border. Do we know now where they go?
Well, it'll be the same sort of renewed aggression, trying to detain and deport people as soon as possible, taking a more aggressive approach to immigration enforcement. One thing that's particularly interesting in these memos, Jamie, is they say that they will try to prosecute the parents of anyone who parents of children who smuggle them, pay to have those kids smuggled here into the U.S. And that's part of a larger theme that we're seeing here, which is deterrence. In talking to people at the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, it's clear that a lot of this is just about deterrence and making it clear to people in countries that are trying to come here illegally, this is not a hospitable place for you. So I think that threat of prosecution is part of deterrence. I don't know if they're actually going to follow through on that.
Paula, let's talk about the president's other immigration order, the so-called travel ban. When do we expect that to be released, and what can we expect to come out of that?
The expectation for when that will be released keeps sliding. Originally, we were told Tuesday or Wednesday. Now we're being told it's likely to come out Friday. Now, unlike the original so-called travel ban, we expect this new executive order to have specific carve-outs, specific exceptions for people who have green cards or potentially for people who have their visas to come here because they helped the U.S. Because as we saw with the original travel ban, it was essentially a blanket ban. That's how the courts interpreted it. And the judges said, look, it's not enough for you to issue this executive order and then tell us after the fact, oh, it doesn't apply to that person or we'll make an exception for that person. You have to put that specifically in the travel ban. So the White House says it's nothing different than what they did before, but that's not really true because we expect this new travel ban to have specific exceptions for certain groups of people.
Okay, Paula Reid, thank you for breaking it all down for us out of Washington today.